Welcome back to DJ Tutorials, and today we're going to be talking about the render engine Prorender and its crashing issues when trying to render out an animation. So you've probably been watching my videos and might want to give Prorender a try. Just keep in mind that it still is a work in progress, as I have said in my other videos. All credit and accolades to the developers who are developing this plugin for Blender. It's still frustrating that there are a lot of bugs, and I'm going to call them out and let you guys know about it as I see them, because that is the way that we actually help to develop this render engine. So I did a recording and put it on the screen here to show you what I've found to be probably an issue. It's kind of an anomaly. And uh, basically what happens is when you start to render out an animation inside of ProRender, after a certain amount of time, it looks like the RAM, and I have 60 gigs of RAM installed in my computer. It looks like after a while, when you hit to render to render, um, for me, it gets around 14 or so frames, and the engine completely crashes the system. And there's no issues with my GPUs being overheated or my CPU or anything like that. It just looks like the RAM sort of builds up and builds up and builds up, and it doesn't dump the cache, and eventually decides to completely crash the system. I think last night when I was staying up and trying to figure this out so I can get this rendered out to you guys, this animation comparison video, it got up to like 47 gigs of RAM, and then it like crashed after I think 15 or 17 frames were rendered. And it really doesn't have anything to do with the samples or the size, as far as I can tell. It's just a bug that the ProRender devs know about and are fixing for the next release. But in the meantime, and if you run into more issues with it crashing, I want to provide you with a way out to deal with this problem. So what I found is, after I did some looking online, there was a crash bug report, looks like in February, that was put in here. And it says having a problem, rendering it out after a couple frames, it crashes. Which I haven't done an actual full animation with ProRender in a little while. Um, so I usually do like single frame renders for interior and project designs and character designs and stuff like that. So when I saw this, I was this is new to me. So it looks like it's been an issue for a while, and there was this response here by this individual, and they suggested to use this Python script. And this script, as far as I can tell from this, doesn't actually work. But I'll show you what does work. And I had to find, after I was troubleshooting this, and I edited it and tried to get it to work, it just wasn't doing what I needed it to do, and I'm not really sure what the issue is. So I actually found the original posting here, and it looks like it was done 11 months ago. And this script right here actually works. And I'm going to provide the link to this location, and you'll be able to see it there. And I'll also provide the Python script, hopefully, in the comment section, so you guys can copy and paste from there, and hopefully it'll work properly and everything like that with the proper formatting. But basically, this is a script that you have to copy and paste into the console inside of Blender in order to render it properly. And I'll tell you what it's doing when we look at it. So I'm just going to really quickly here take this, copy it, because I'm also going to show you how to edit this. So inside of a open up Notepad or anything like that, and you can type in the script here. And let's get this a bit bigger here. Okay, so basically what you're saying is to import information into Blender that's built into the actual program itself. And then it's referencing some things here. So you don't have to be a programmer to understand this. You can actually just copy and paste it right in there, and I'll show you where it sort of ends up. Um, so if you take this, actually, just really quick, this is what is actually helping you to render this out properly. So what this is saying right here is that every time there's a frame rendered, it's saying like, okay, open up the scene, and then for the frame range, which is the frame start and the frame end, Don't worry about the +1. It's, this is programming. So you're rendering every frame here that's inside of the frame range that you set. Then it's going to render to this file path, which if it doesn't exist, it will create it on your C drive. Hopefully you have a C drive, so it will do that. But I'll show you how to change this. And then it's going to add a string, which is just a like basically a character, and it's referencing the frame number here. So and then it says zfill 4, so that means 4 digits for your frame number. And then it basically is going to move along and render everything out the way that it's supposed to, and it will continue writing until it goes from the frame start to the frame end. And this right here that says time.sleep, this is what solves the issue with the render engine. In order, I guess, for it to dump the cache or do whatever it needs to do to render out properly, it has to pause in between each frame render with this part of the script right here. So it says time.sleep 3. So like basically in seconds, wait 3 seconds before rendering the next frame. So all you really have to do, and let's go into a session here. So here's, and I would suggest saving a new file and finding a new location to place it. What you should do is set your start and end frame. So down here in your timeline properties, make sure that you set a start and end frame. So whatever it is that you're going to do, make sure that you set your render devices, whatever you're going to choose. Go into your output settings right here in your output settings properties. Go to here, and you need to make this blank. As far as I can tell, this has to be completely blank. So you can go to a location. So I just made this new folder here. Go to a location and all that, but leave this blank for now. Okay, and then you'll hit accept. Then what you'll need to do is go up over here and change this over to Python console right here. And it's going to open up this screen. So this is basically a place where you can copy and paste Python scripts. And what we will do is we'll just take this right here. Oh, really quick before we continue going forward, I'm going to show you uh, let's see here. So I'm going to change my samples from this to 16 by 16 just to show you that this works. Let me also bring up OCCT as well. Oh, come on. Let me just bring this up so you can see what's going on. So while that's opening up, all right. So you need to make sure that you save. So you'll, I'll save this as test. Thank you. Test for video or something like that. And save that. And so then what we need to do here, after you saved it and you did all the stuff that I just told you, so again, make sure that this is blank down here. You'll copy from your notepad or wherever you set this and make sure that it has to look like this. If you have issues with the spacing here or something like that, it's going to throw errors at you, or it's going to, tell you that there's something wrong. So if you take this, copy, and then in here, paste it, and then hit enter twice. And now I'm going to bring up my AMD. Actually, we could see it in OCCT. So right here is the GPU. Can you guys see this? Let me just, yeah. So right here is the GPU. And you'll see it's like building. It's not telling you anything because you're running the render through a script right now. But you'll see that it's basically building everything that's in the scene. And now see that the GPU is now being used. Okay. And it's gone up. And look at, it says 15 gigs, 15, 15, 0.8 gigs of RAM being used right now. And it just went to 16. It's kind of fluctuating a bit, but it's lower. And when I was monitoring this, it stays pretty low compared to the other. So there was a frame right there, and because it just stopped with the GPUs, okay, and you'll see that it went down, okay, and hopefully this is like pretty stable because I've actually rendered out hundreds of frames now, and it stays pretty stable. And what we'll do is if you go to your C drive, you'll see a new folder, I just sorted by date modified, a new folder has just popped in called blendtemp. And there it is right there. So it's rendering out automatically to have the 4-frame padding. There you go. That's the second frame. And it's you have to make sure you set your compositing, everything like that inside of your render, your session file and everything. But it's going to start populating this folder with all of these frames. So what that means is it will overwrite if you try to do it again. You may want to move your files over and do it in batches or something like that. If you'd like to do it this way without changing the script, totally up to you on what you would like to do. Okay, but this is basically what this is how you have to do it. So if we jump back in here, you can see like it's on the third frame now, and the RAM is staying like pretty low down in this area here. It's not as high as it was before. So again, I'm not sure if that it does definitely seem to be an issue that uh it's not easing up on the RAM. And I did notice that when I ran a CPU session and my dual GPU session at the same time, even with this script, even with this going on, the RAM was going up like really high and crashing. So it must, I mean, I'm assuming it has something to do with the fact that when you have the render, the engine going and it doesn't have a break between frames, it just holds on to it. I don't know, but it's possibly an issue. Any programmers out there or people who know about the render engine more than me, please tell me why that's the issue or why we see that going on. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you how to change this so that you can set some custom things inside of this script. So this is going to crash because I'm going to stop it, and it kind of will keep going until it's done. So I'm actually going to purposely force quit and reopen the file. And while that's opening up, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing our script here to something else. We're going to be adding some things so that we can actually set some custom things here. So let's open this back up and go to the output and make sure that it's the same. Okay, cool. So let's say that you, and this is probably the case, that you want to change this to send it to a specific location. So let's say that I wanted to send it to this folder here. What you'll want to do is you'll want to copy this file path. Okay. You're going to want to go in here, and I'm actually going to, you know what? I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this video test. So copy this, and right here, see where it says scene.render.filepath equals. You're going to paste the new file path right here. So paste. Then make sure that you put a / at the end. Okay. Then what we're going to do, let me zoom out a little bit here so we can see what's going on. Oop. Okay, so then if we take a look here, you see where it says, here's the file path, and then it says plus string frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another string for our naming convention. So for me, the naming convention looks like this: abstract underscore logo, animation, blah, 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 blah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all the way up to the number, the digit right there. So abstract underscore logo underscore animation underscore ProRender underscore version 1 dot. I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to, right after this, quote mark here, okay, I'm going to put plus. So that's a space there. So space, then type plus space str, which means string. Then you're going to put a parentheses, quote. So the quotes here. Paste in that naming convention right here. Then quote and then close the parentheses. Okay. So that is now it should render out to this location right here. And it should have a string that says my naming convention. Then it's going to be adding a string of the frame number with a padding, oops, with a padding of 4. Okay, let me try to get this closer so those of you who are hard of seeing like me. So again, right after the this quote here from the file path location, space, plus sign, space, str, parentheses, quote, your naming convention, oops, your naming convention, followed by a period. That's how I do it. So closing quote, your parentheses here, and then there should be a space before the adding the string frame. String just means like I think I said this before, but it basically just means adding some like text or numbers to something. One more thing we actually have to do in order for this to work right before we can copy and paste it in. Um, for whatever reason, and it's been a long time since I actually did Python scripting like this, what we have to do for this file path to work, you see that at the very end here, there's this forward slash. All these slashes have to be forward slashes, not backslashes. So go through here, just highlight, change to these forward slash um, to forward slashes. So let's just do that real quick. Just like that. Save this. And, if you got stuck and you tried to do it before you changed out these slashes, just, do that. Take this, copy it, throw it into your, let me just double check again to make sure this is, okay, so that this down here is blank and that the video test, let's actually delete that out of there. I'm just going to put it in the folder that I'm looking to actually render in. Then make sure that you have the Python script open, the Python console open in the scripting area. Then you're going to go in here and hit Control V to paste, enter twice. Then let's monitor OCCT and you can use whatever monitoring software you'd like just while this is running. Um, this just seemed to be, I've used quite a few of them. This one just seems to be the pretty um, complete with all the different things you can use. It doesn't actually do my multi GPU very well. When I try to do some testing and stuff like that, it only will choose one GPU, which is kind of weird. But that doesn't make the monitoring any worse or anything like that. It's actually really robust with all this stuff that it does. And if you have a single GPU or probably NVIDIA GPUs will work better. It shouldn't be much of an issue for running tests on multi GPUs. Um, not sponsored by OCCT. I just think that this is a nice little free program. So there we go. We have a frame that's been rendered right there. And if we're monitoring the RAM, you can see that it started roughly around here, then it rendered out, and now it's continuing to render out more frames. And if we pop open the window here where everything's being saved, you can see that there it is right there. That's our file. So hopefully this helps you out with dealing with this issue. I was up pretty late trying to get this figured out and running through other Python scripts that weren't working, and this one just seemed to happen to work to me, or this one just seemed to work for me. So if you find that you're getting lost and you really want to start using this, get ready to kind of get your hands dirty with troubleshooting issues and stuff like that. And you can use my channel as a way to sort of ask me if I've run into issues or how I can, help you troubleshoot stuff, or you can help me troubleshoot stuff. That's totally fine with me. And again, I totally promote this render engine. It's just a little clunky sometimes. So thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time when I show you what the results are for the animations. and the comparisons, as well as possibly a video showing you how I put everything together and how I composite it using Natron and everything else. Please make sure to subscribe and like the video if you like the content, and leave comments and questions below. And I'll see you guys next time.